Antonio Diaz with your program of Mestizo Experience, coming at you one more time. We've been going for a couple of months, being that the city was renovating their studio, and since we're connected together as the signal is carried by the city, we were out until the end of July. I took it a little bit further and just kind of didn't want to do anything. But we can't sit it out. We cannot sit this out anymore. If you've been seeing what's going on in New York with the protest against Wall Street, and to me, it is a protest against financial corruption, against exploitation of labor, against all the 1% or 2% of the ultra-rich, the billionaires, and I think the Rothschilds are considered to be trillionaires that are exploiting all our resources, our workforce, our humanity. So I'm doing this program to invite those out there in the city of San Antonio that are also in the Occupy Wall Street movement, which would be Occupy the corrupt corporations of San Antonio and the financial institutions of San Antonio that are linked with all the corrupt corporations, to invite you to our 9th annual Indigenous Dignity Day Human Rights March. That's Indigenous Dignity Day Human Rights March on October the 15th. It makes sense that we join forces, that we join hands, because when Columbus first landed on our soil of our continent, he started exploiting both the natural resources and the labor by enslaving the native people and shipping them off to wherever they wanted to, including young girls for the sex slave trades. That is how corrupt it got here against the native people, and all the natural resources were stolen and our people butchered and murdered. That is exactly what these corporations continue to do worldwide, and I think that is why there is such an uprising against Wall Street, because that is what they do worldwide. If you look at any what you consider third world nation, Africa as a continent itself continues to be trampled on. Its people exploited, its natural resources exploited. Our continent of the Americas continues also to be exploited in that way. Very soon there will be no natural resources, including our water, that we will be able to afford, or that will be clean enough for us to drink. Even here in San Antonio, they're talking about a desalinization program to take salt out of water that can be converted to drinking water. Well, I wonder if the rich will be drinking that water, or only the poor will be drinking that water. But it will be sold still to us at a very high rate that we will not be able to afford barely. And talk about healthcare. Again, this is a global issue. Healthcare, even if you're a union worker, which hopefully unions seem to be joining in the protest against Wall Street in New York, and hopefully they will join throughout the country and then globally. Because when these ultra-rich people that think that all the natural resources belong to them, and not just the natural resources, but all quality of life benefits belong only to them, and we can do without, or have to make choices of either being able to pay for a place to live, or eat, or pay utilities, or have medical care. Which of those do you give up simply to make it? Because the rich want more money. They never have enough. It's always, well, we have to reach this other higher plateau of profit, or they're not comfortable. Well, it reminds me very much of what Christopher Columbus, if anyone ever reads what he wrote back to the King of Spain, or what they were writing back to the Catholic Church about how many either converts or slaves they had for whatever need they thought they had in Europe, they shipped our people over there. Even if it was for sex, as servants in a farm, or in a church, or for the king to have more entertainment by killing our people in his court. All these things were written in Christopher Columbus's notes, in writing to the king and queen, in writing to the church, in asking more money, and then showing that he was sending what he called slaves were maybe not gold, but they were as good as gold because of the profits they brought in. And these corporations of today have the same mindset, which is to break down our willpower, where we're going to work for pennies, just to survive. That should not be happening. So I believe that is what is at the core, what is at the center, at the heart of the movement of the Occupy Wall Street movement, and which will be occupy almost every major city of the United States movement, because of the corrupt corporations which are owned by corrupt financiers and bankers. And so I'm asking, and I'm basically donating March space within our March and October 15th, because I think if we are fighting the same evil, we are fighting the same monster, we are fighting the same corrupt giant that seems never to be satisfied, and is always hungry and always greedy for more, and it doesn't care about us. So I think we need to join forces. So I will make this offer to you more openly in the meetings, but I am doing this on my program of Mestizo Experience, so that those in our city can see that we do have a march coming up on October 15th, but so they can also become aware that our people of San Antonio, the working class people of San Antonio, are also demanding or making demands that changes be made within the financial system, within the banking system, that more opportunity be given to the middle class and the working poor, that they not be taxed so highly, and the quality of life that they have be taken away. Education is an opportunity for all. Healthcare should be offered to all. Housing, food, these are basic needs for everybody. And the ones that were deprived of all these things first were the indigenous people.